Okay, thank you. I'm not good with the microphone. My name's Dan Kauffman. I'm the community sales manager at the Marina of Peppers Creek and the Woodlands of Peppers Creek. And I came here to share with you a story that helps me through some tough times. So I ask you to bear with me for just about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm a veteran. I was in the Army for 13 years. That's what I did with my life, the first 13 of my career. Of that 13, I spent 12 of them training to go to war. Finally, we get the call to go to war. We're getting ready to deploy to Iraq in October of 2002. We did that. We came home in October of 2003. When we got there, we got to Kuwait, which was our theater staging area. That's what they call it in the Army. And we did nothing but train. We trained hard and fast to go to war. We trained for combat. We trained for deployment operations. We trained for bridging operations, close quarters, fixed bayonets, stuff like that. In March of 2003 is when we got the call to go across the border and actually invade. I'm sure everybody remembers that day. Anyway, about 3 to 4 weeks prior to that day, we were in what's called a forward area. And that's where you sit and wait until you get the final order to go across. This forward area was in the middle of the desert in Kuwait. And in that desert, we experienced everything that the desert had to offer. Horned-rimmed vipers, snakes, those big giant spiders that everybody sees on the internet and says, wow, is that real? Yeah, they're real and they're there. Scorpions, millipedes, you name it, we slept with them. We slept in the sand with them, and that's how we lived our life for about a month. No running water, no showers, no hot meals, no air conditioning, no heat, no bed, for that matter. So we're tired already, but we're still geared up. We've trained for 13 years for this, and we're ready to go. We finally get the order. Bam, we charge into Iraq. I was the 50th guy across the border. The reason I know that is because there was some schmuck there who was counting people going across the border. He said, congratulations, you're number 50. I'm going, what? So anyway, I go across the border. I look to my left and to my right, and what I see are mangy wild dogs eating dead Iraqi soldiers because we had just bombed them 2 days before. So I'm automatically thinking, man, this is not what I expected. About 2 miles into the trip, we're in these big giant trucks. We got about a 1.5 mile convoy behind us, and we're in all kinds of skirmishes. Short fire, close quarters combat, some fixed bayonets. We won't get into that now, but it was nasty. Everything that war has to offer, plus the snakes and the scorpions and all that fun stuff that we just talked about. Anyway, we get about 3/4 into the trip, and our trip ends at the Euphrates River, which is a beautiful river. It's biblical. Everybody's heard of it. But about 3/4 of the way there, we have been on the road now for about 40 hours. No sleep, no food, no showers, no nothing. And finally, I get a call on our company radio. When you're in the Army in a truck, you have 2 radios. You have a big PRC radio that keeps in constant contact with the convoy, and you have a handheld radio, which lets section leaders like myself keep in constant contact with my section of about 130 men. So I get a call on the PRC radio, says, okay, scheduled halt, everybody herringbone. And what that means is all the trucks kind of alternate going off the road that we're on. It's not really a road, it's a desert, but we alternate off. When you look down on it, it looks like a dead fish. The reason we do that is because if somebody bombards us with artillery, only half of us will get hit, the other half will escape. So automatically, I've got a 50-50 chance of living if we get bombed. So I've got that going on in my head. I've got these dead people that dogs are eating going through my head. I got scorpions, I got snakes, I haven't showered. I'm hurting. And I remember at that very moment thinking, how am I going to get through this? I feel so alone out here. This is brutal. I had a great first part of my career. I come into war, and this is awful. It's the worst time of my life. How am I going to get through this? Well, I get a call now on my handheld radio from a friend of mine named Ryan Goodrich. That is his real name. We call him Goody because his last name's Goodrich. This is the guy. Everybody knows one of these guys that something bad always happens to. He is a walking, talking Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong with this guy goes wrong with him. Broken bones all the time, falling down in puddles. If something falls out of the sky, it's going to hit him instead of anybody else. That's just the way this guy is. And I get a call from him saying, Dan, I need to go to the bathroom. And I got all this stuff going on in my head. I answer the thing. I'll alert the media. Thank you for telling me. He says, no, I have to go to the real bathroom. Said, oh, now I know what you're asking. So I get on the big company radio to find out how long we're going to be stopped, because it does take a while. I said to call the company commander. I say, how long are we stopped? He said, at least 30 minutes. We've got to refuel and let air out of tires, put air in tires, things like that. So I call my buddy back, and I say, Goody, you're set to go. You got at least a half an hour. Have at it, buddy. He calls me back. Thanks. So I look out, he's about 3 trucks behind me, and I just want to make sure he gets there okay, because in the Army, they protect you very well. You have your standard desert camo uniform. On top of that uniform, you have what's called a MOP suit. It's this charcoal-lined chemical suit to keep chemical and biological weapons from getting to you. You have a Kevlar helmet, which makes you look like a mushroom, but it'll stop a bullet cold, so we'll keep that one. You have a flak vest that's about 60 pounds, but it'll stop grenade rounds from hitting you. We'll keep that. You have load-bearing equipment, which consists of live grenades, 2 full canteens full of water, a bunch of M16 rounds, and other stuff, bayonets, compasses, medical kits, things like that. My point is, it takes a while to get this stuff off. Now, in the desert, in order to go to the bathroom, you have to do something. We carry what's called an entrenching tool. When you open that entrenching tool up, it turns into a little shovel. You dig a hole. You stick the entrenching tool in the sand. You hold on to it, and you go to the bathroom. It's actually not as bad as it sounds. It works out pretty well. But anyway, it takes about 5 or 6 minutes to get all of this stuff off. And I'm watching him fiddle around because it's very funny looking. He's trying to get all this stuff off, and he's got grenades, live grenades, rolling all around him. He finally gets his hole dug. He sticks it in the ground and squats back, and I say, I don't need to watch that part. He's good. About 2 minutes pass, and I think, you know what? He's not good. Something's going to happen to this guy, because something always happens to this guy. I have fixed my night vision goggles, flipped them down, and turn them on. I look over to my left at my good friend sitting out there, and what I saw dumbfounded me worse than all of the aforementioned war stuff I told you. So I get on the two-way radio, and I call him, and I say, Goody, you need to pick up your two-way right now. And I see him fumbling around. He gets it. What is it? I say, you got to put on your night vision goggles right now. He said, I'm going to the bathroom. Why would I want to do that? I said, just do it. So he's fiddling around with his hand right here, and I see him, and he's like leaning. He's got his tool there. Gets him finally. This is all left-handed, which is pretty impressive. Puts it on over his face, turns it on, and he turns to his left, and over his left shoulder, he sees what I saw. And what I saw was my friend sitting here doing his thing, and there's this giant 2-humped camel looking right at him like this, chewing on cud, and you can imagine what these giant camels look like. Now, if he had bothered to look anywhere behind him, he would have noticed that he had walked about 15 yards into a herd of 2-humped camels that are hearing him doing all this commotion-filled stuff and walking over to see what's going on. So when he turns and sees it, he does one of those, freaks out, lets go of his shovel, and falls in his hole. Poor guy. True story. Now, what do I do as his section commander, as his squad leader, as his friend? Do I go and help my befallen partner? Absolutely not. I get on the talk radio and call the entire company and say, everybody put your night vision goggles on, turn to the left, and look at Goody. 2 minutes later, I am hearing horns blaring. We're in the middle of the desert in the middle of the night. People are getting out and cheering for him. Finally, I feel bad enough. I get about 10 bottles of water, and I go out and I help my friend out. Now, at that moment, before I got the bottles and ran out to him, there was kind of a hushing silence that went on in my head. And I thought, I'm going to get through this. Because every single person that was in that convoy with me was just outside cheering on this poor guy that the unthinkable just happened to him. And if he has that much support for that, then there's obviously going to be support for me. And every one of us went through the same thing together. And whenever things go bad, whenever I have a customer who wants to buy a $300,000 home for $180,000, or wants free everything and all closing costs paid and his mortgage paid for 2 years, I think about that day. And it's very, very easy for me to get through times like that. The whole point of the story is it was great getting to where we needed to be. It's hard right now, but if we stick together, we're going to be able to get through it. We'll be able to get through anything. I hope all of you agree with me. I hope you got something out of that story. Thank you very, very much.